Hello, little dreamers. I'm Luna. Welcome to Luna Bedtime Story. Tonight, we'll journey into a world of gentle adventures, kind hearts, and peaceful dreams. If you'd like a new bedtime story waiting for you every week, don't forget to subscribe and join our cozy little family. Now, get comfortable. Snuggle into your favorite blanket. Let your shoulders relax. Close your eyes. Let's begin our story.
The Fox Who Collected Moonbeams, Chapter 1, The Silver-Tailed Fox. Beyond a quiet village, there was a wide green valley. The valley rested between two gentle hills. In the daytime, sheep grazed on its soft grass. Bees moved among the clover. A narrow stream made a low, peaceful sound as it flowed over smooth stones. At night, the valley became very still. The roofs of the village houses turned silver under the moon. The stream looked like a long ribbon of light. Tall pine trees stood along the hills. Their dark branches moved slowly in the cool wind. On the far side of the valley was a small forest called Willow Wood. It was not a frightening forest. Its paths were covered with moss, and its trees had round, friendly shapes. Ferns grew beside the roots. Tiny white flowers opened only after sunset. In the deepest part of Willow Wood stood a hollow oak tree. Its trunk was wide, and a little wooden door had been fitted into an opening near the ground. Behind that door lived a fox named Lumi. Lumi was smaller than most foxes. His fur was a warm shade of red. His paws were dark brown. His eyes were bright and gentle. The most unusual thing about him was his tail. During the day, it looked pale gray. At night, it shone like polished silver. Lumi lived alone, but he was not lonely. His home was warm and comfortable. A round bed of dried grass stood near the wall. A blue wool blanket covered it. Shelves made from smooth branches held acorn cups, clay bowls, and bundles of herbs. One shelf was more important than all the others. It held many tiny glass jars. Each jar was no larger than an apple. Each had a little cork lid. The glass was clear and smooth. Lumi could see everything inside. He had found some jars near the recycling shed. Others came from an old badger who made useful things from forgotten objects. Every evening, Lumi placed 6 empty jars in a brown leather bag. The bag had a long strap, which he wore across his chest. It also had 6 padded pockets. The soft pockets stopped the jars from knocking against one another. When the moon rose above the eastern hill, Lumi left his oak tree and walked through the forest. He was looking for fallen moonbeams. Moonbeams were thin streams of light traveling from the moon to the earth. Most rested on roofs, leaves, ponds, and fields until morning. A few became tangled in spiderwebs or caught between blades of grass. These loose pieces were called fallen moonbeams. Fallen moonbeams did not burn. They felt cool and soft, like water touched by winter air. Lumi collected them because they faded when the sun rose. He believed such gentle light should not be wasted. That night, the moon was round and bright. Lumi followed a path between the ferns until he reached the edge of the stream. A silver thread of light rested on a flat stone. Lumi opened his bag and took out an empty jar. Then he held the jar close to the stone. He did not grab the light. Fallen moonbeams were delicate, and a quick movement could make them break apart. Instead, Lumi brushed the stone with the soft end of his tail. The moonbeam lifted into the air. It curled once around Lumi's nose, then it floated into the waiting jar. Lumi placed the cork in the top. The jar began to glow. "One for the dark window of a traveler," Lumi said. He returned the shining jar to its padded pocket. Farther along the stream, he found another moonbeam resting inside a curled leaf. He guided it into a second jar. "One for a child who fears the night," he whispered. Near the willow trees, he found a third moonbeam caught in a spiderweb. Lumi carefully freed it without harming the web. "One for a lost bird," he said. He continued until all 6 jars were full. When his work was done, Lumi climbed a low hill above the valley. He sat beneath a hawthorn bush and looked at the moon. "Thank you for your light," he said. The moon seemed to shine more brightly for a moment. Everything was peaceful. Chapter 2: The Child at the Window. At the northern end of the village stood a small stone cottage. The cottage had a red door and 2 square windows. The chimney leaned slightly to one side. A garden surrounded it. Mint grew near the path. Climbing roses covered part of the wall. A child named Mira lived there with her grandmother. Mira was 9 years old. She had dark, wavy hair and curious brown eyes. She liked quiet things. She liked listening to rain. She liked watching beetles. She also liked learning the names of stars. Mira's grandmother was called Nani. Nani wore soft wool dresses and round glasses. She baked bread in the morning. She told stories in the evening. She knew which herbs could calm a cough. Mira's room was beneath the sloping roof. It had a narrow bed and a wooden chest. A desk sat beside the window. A faded map of the night sky hung on the wall. Every night, Mira sat at the desk and looked at the moon. She kept a moon journal. It was a thick notebook covered in blue cloth. On each page, she drew the moon. Sometimes it was a thin curve. Sometimes it was half a circle. Sometimes it was full and bright. For several weeks, Mira had noticed something strange near the stream. A small silver light moved through the grass after everyone else had gone to bed. At first, Mira thought it was a lantern. Then she noticed that the light was too low for a person. It moved in a smooth, careful way. Sometimes it stopped. Sometimes it curved around a tree. Mira watched it each night, but she did not follow it. Nani had taught her that wild creatures needed space. A person should never chase an animal simply because they were curious. One evening, Mira was drawing a half moon in her journal when she saw the silver light again. This time, it came closer to the village. Mira leaned toward the window. The light moved through the garden gate. It crossed the stone path. It stopped beside the old wooden bench. Then a fox stepped into the moonlight. Mira held her breath. The fox had red fur and a shining silver tail. A leather bag hung across his chest. He stood beside white flowers. He looked carefully at the ground. One of the flowers had trapped a moonbeam inside its petals. Mira had never seen such a thing. The small piece of light trembled like a silver drop of water. The fox took a glass jar from his bag. He brushed the flower with his tail, and the moonbeam floated into the jar. Mira was so surprised that her elbow touched the window. Tap! The fox looked up. For a quiet moment, Mira and Lumi stared at one another. Mira did not move. Lumi did not run. Then Mira slowly raised one hand. "Hello," she whispered. Lumi's ears turned forward. He could not hear the word clearly, but he understood the gentle greeting. He lowered his head once, then he returned the jar to his bag. Before he left, he looked at Mira again. His eyes were calm. They did not seem like the eyes of an ordinary fox. The next night, Mira placed a small bowl of water near the garden bench. She also left a folded piece of cloth beside it. The cloth was deep green and very soft. She did not leave food. Nani had explained that feeding wild animals could make them depend on people. Mira only wished to show that the fox was welcome to rest. Lumi came after midnight. He drank from the bowl. Then he touched the green cloth with one paw. He seemed to understand that it was a gift. The cloth was just the right size to wrap around a glass jar. It would keep the jar safe inside his bag. Lumi looked toward Mira's window. She was waiting there. He bowed his head again. On the third night, Mira quietly went into the garden. She sat on the wooden bench and kept her hands folded in her lap. Lumi entered through the gate. He stopped several steps away. "My name is Mira," she said. Lumi studied her face. Then, to Mira's great surprise, he spoke. "My name is Lumi." His voice was soft and clear. It sounded like leaves moving over snow. Mira did not shout. She did not rush toward him. "I have seen you," she said. "Fallen moonbeams," Lumi explained. Mira looked at the glowing jar in his bag. "What do you do with them?" "I keep them safe," he said. Mira smiled. "That is kind." Lumi looked toward the moon. "The light belongs to everyone," he said. They sat together beneath the climbing roses. Lumi explained how moonbeams became tangled in the valley. Mira told him about her moon journal. The night remained calm around them. Before Lumi left, Mira gave him the green cloth. "For a jar," she said. Lumi wrapped it around the brightest jar in his bag. "Thank you, Mira." Their friendship began quietly. Chapter 3. The moon goes dark. Several nights passed. Mira often met Lumi near the garden bench. Sometimes they walked to the edge of the valley. Mira carried a small lantern with yellow glass, but she kept its flame low. She did not want it to hide the moonlight. Lumi showed her where fallen moonbeams could be found. Some rested in drops of dew. Others hid beneath mushrooms. One moonbeam had become curled around a snail's shell, and another had fallen into an empty bird's nest. Mira learned to move slowly. She learned to watch before reaching. She also learned that moonlight made a faint humming sound when it was gathered inside a jar. One evening, the air felt different. The wind had stopped. The leaves on the willow trees hung without moving. Even the stream seemed quieter than usual. The moon rose above the eastern hill. It was full, but its light looked weak. Mira stood beside Lumi near the garden gate. She held her yellow lantern in one hand. "Does the moon look tired?" she asked. Lumi stared at the sky. A pale shadow appeared at the moon's lower edge. The shadow did not look like a cloud. It had no soft border. The wind did not move it. It spread slowly upward, covering the moon. Lumi's silver tail began to lose its shine. The valley grew dim. The moon faded from bright silver to dull gray. Then the last piece of light disappeared. The moon was still in the sky, but it no longer glowed. Darkness settled over the valley. Mira lit her lantern. Its small flame made a circle of yellow light around her feet. From the village came the sound of doors opening. People stepped outside with candles. They looked upward and spoke in worried voices. Birds became restless in their nests. The white night flowers closed their petals. The stream no longer shone between the trees. Lumi looked down at his tail. It was now plain gray. "What happened?" Mira asked. "I do not know," Lumi answered. He hurried toward the stream. Mira followed with the lantern. They searched the flat stones and the tall grass. They looked beneath the willow branches and inside the white flowers. There were no fallen moonbeams. Every piece of light had vanished. Lumi and Mira returned to the village. Nanny was waiting at the cottage gate with a thick shawl around her shoulders. Mira explained what they had seen. She also introduced Lumi. Nani looked surprised when the fox spoke, but she listened without fear. "The moon did not set," Nani said. "Its place in the sky has not changed, only its light is gone." "Can it be returned?" Mira asked. Nani thought for a moment. "When I was young, my grandmother told me about a place called the Hill of Echoing Stones. She said that anyone who wished to speak to the moon must climb that hill." Mira knew of the hill. It stood beyond the western forest, farther away than she had ever traveled. "What would we ask?" Mira said. "What the moon needs," said Lumi. They went into the cottage. Nani lit 2 candles and placed them on the kitchen table. Lumi explained that many jars of moonbeams remained inside his oak home. "If the moon has lost its light," he said, "perhaps the gathered moonbeams can help." "How many jars?" Nani asked. "More than 80, Lumi replied. Mira's eyes widened. "That sounds like a great deal of light. It is enough to brighten many rooms," Lumi said. "But the moon is larger than our whole valley. I do not know if it will be enough for the sky." Nani poured warm milk into a cup for Mira. She filled a shallow bowl for Lumi. "You do not need to solve the whole problem tonight," she said. "First, learn what happened. Then you will know what must be done." The simple advice made the room feel calmer. Mira opened her moon journal. On a new page, she drew a dark circle. Below it, she wrote the date. Lumi looked at the drawing. "We leave at sunrise," he said. The journey was waiting. Chapter 4. The Journey Through Willow Wood. Morning came slowly. Without the moon, the valley felt colder. A thin mist covered the ground. Drops of water clung to the garden plants. Nani prepared what Mira and Lumi would need for their journey. Nani found a small traveling pack. It was made from strong brown cloth. 2 straps allowed Mira to carry it. Inside, Nani placed bread, apples, cheese, and water. She also packed a wool blanket. The blanket was light but warm. It could be folded into a narrow roll and tied beneath the pack. Next, Nani gave Mira a compass. The compass was a round brass object. A small needle rested inside. The needle always pointed north. A traveler used it to choose the path. The hill of echoing stones lies west, Nani said. Keep the red end of the needle to your right as you walk. Lumi carried his leather bag. It held 4 glass jars filled with moonbeams. He did not know when they might need the light, so he protected each jar with soft cloth. They left the cottage after breakfast. Nani stood at the gate. Walk steadily, she told them. Rest before you become too tired. Help each other and come home together. Mira hugged her grandmother. We will, Mira said. The first part of the journey led through Willow Wood. Mira had never walked through its deepest paths. The forest seemed larger from inside. Oak trees raised their branches high. Willows grew near pools. Moss covered fallen logs. Because the moon had gone dark, the white night flowers had not fully closed. They drooped beside the path as if they were sleepy. This is my home, Lumi said. He led Mira to the hollow oak tree. The little wooden door stood beneath a curved root. Inside, Lumi showed her the shelves of moonbeam jars. Mira stepped carefully into the room. Dozens of silver lights shone around her. Their glow reflected in the clay bowls and lit the blue blanket on Lumi's bed. It is beautiful, she whispered. Lumi looked at the shelves with worry. Some of the jars were already growing faint. The moonbeams are connected, he explained. If the moon stays dark, these may fade. He chose one more jar and wrapped it in the green cloth Mira had given him. This was the brightest moonbeam in his collection. I gathered this on the night we first spoke, he said. Then it is a friendship light, Mira replied. Lumi placed it safely in his bag. They left the oak and continued west. By afternoon, the forest became thicker. The trees stood closer together. The path divided in 3 directions. Lumi sniffed the air, but damp earth covered the older scents. Mira took out the compass. The red end of the needle pointed to her right. She studied each path. The middle path continued west. This way, she said. They followed it until they reached a fallen tree. The tree was so large that its roots rose high. Its branches blocked the path. Thick bushes grew on both sides. Walking around it would be difficult. Lumi climbed onto the trunk. He searched for a safe crossing place. There is a hollow beneath one branch, he said. I can pass through it, but it is too small for you. Mira placed her pack on the ground. We should not hurry, she said. There may be another way. They walked along the fallen tree and examined it carefully. Near the roots, Mira found a row of firm knots in the bark. The knots formed natural steps. She climbed slowly. Lumi stayed beside her. When she reached the top, she sat down and moved across the wide trunk. On the other side, Lumi climbed down first. Mira lowered her pack to him with the blanket straps. Then she descended, using a hanging vine for support. The simple crossing took time, but they reached the ground safely. As evening approached, they found a clearing surrounded by young birch trees. The ground was dry, and a shallow pool stood nearby. They decided to rest there. Mira spread the wool blanket over the grass. Lumi opened one jar of moonbeams and placed it on a flat stone. The silver glow filled the clearing. They ate bread and cheese. Lumi drank from the pool after checking that the water was clean. Above them, the dark moon rose again. Mira looked at it through the birch branches. "Do you think it feels alone?" she asked. "We are coming to help," Lumi said. Their journey had truly begun. Chapter 5: The Keeper of the Stone Bridge. The next morning, Mira and Lumi left Willow Wood. Beyond the forest was the golden plain. In summer, the grass turned the color of honey. Now, the grass moved in pale waves beneath the wind. A river crossed the plain. The river was much wider than the stream. Its water was deep and blue. Smooth gray stones lined its banks. Reeds grew in the shallow places. Only one bridge crossed the river. The bridge was made from large blocks. It had no wooden railings. Low walls ran along both sides. Small plants grew between the cracks. At the center of the bridge sat a large tortoise. The tortoise had a dark green shell. Golden lines marked the surface. His head was wrinkled. His eyes were calm. Beside him stood a wooden staff. Lumi stopped at the bridge. "That is Oren," he told Mira. "He is the keeper of this crossing." Oren lifted his head. "Good morning," he said slowly. "The moon is dark," Lumi said. "I have noticed," said Oren. "The river could not find the moon's path last night," Mira introduced herself. Oren listened carefully, then touched one foot to his staff. The bells made a soft sound. "You are traveling to the hill of echoing stones," he said. "Yes," said Mira. "The bridge is old," Oren explained. He pointed to a place near the middle of the bridge. A flat stone had lifted above the others. Water moved below it through a narrow gap. Mira and Lumi approached slowly. The loose stone was too heavy for Mira to lift. Lumi could not move it with his paws. They could cross around it, but another traveler might step on it later. "We should fix it," Mira said. Oren nodded. Near the eastern bank lies a patch of river clay. River clay is thick, smooth earth. When it dries, it becomes firm. It can hold the stone in place. Mira found the clay beneath the reeds. She collected it in a broad piece of bark. Lumi searched the bank for small, strong pebbles. He chose ones with flat sides. Together, they worked around the loose stone. Mira pressed clay into the gap. Lumi pushed pebbles into the clay with his paws. Oren used the end of his staff to pack everything firmly. At last, the stone no longer moved. The work had taken most of the morning. Oren looked pleased. "You could have stepped around the danger," he said. "Instead, you repaired it for those who will come after you." "It was right," Mira replied. Oren reached beneath his shell and brought out a small white stone. The stone was round and smooth. A simple spiral had been carved into its surface. "This is a listening stone," he explained. "Hold it when you reach the hill. It will help you hear a voice that is very far away." "The moon's voice?" Lumi asked. "Perhaps," said Oren. "The hill repeats many sounds. The listening stone helps the traveler notice the sound that matters." Mira placed the stone in a safe pocket of her pack. "Thank you," Mira said. The bridge stood firm. Chapter 6: The Hill of Echoing Stones. Near sunset, Mira and Lumi found the 3 cedar trees. The trees shared one great root. It rose from the earth like a wave. Their deep green branches made a shelter. Following Oren's directions, the travelers turned toward the hills. The hill stood apart. It had a flat top. Large white stones covered its sides. Each stone had been shaped by wind and rain. At the foot of the hill was a stone arch. Words had been carved across the top: "Speak with kindness and listen with patience." A narrow path began beneath the arch. It curved upward between the white stones. Mira and Lumi started to climb. The hill was not very high, but the path was steep. They stopped often to rest. Mira drank small amounts of water from the bottle. Lumi walked beside her instead of running ahead. As they climbed, they heard strange echoes. The sound of Mira's boots returned as soft tapping from the stones. The call of a distant crow came back as a low song. When the wind moved through the grass, the hill seemed to whisper. At the top, they found a wide circle of level ground. 12 tall stones stood around the circle. In the center was a shallow basin carved into the earth. The basin was filled with clear rainwater. The sky had grown dark. The moon rose above the horizon, but it was still a dull circle without light. Mira took the listening stone from her pocket. "What do we do?" she asked. Lumi looked at the words cut into the nearest tall stone. "Perhaps we begin by speaking with kindness." He stepped toward the rainwater basin. "Tell us how to help," Lumi said. His voice traveled around the circle. "Help, help, help," the stones repeated. Then the echoes faded. Nothing else happened. Mira held the listening stone between both hands. "We want to understand," Mira said. Her voice crossed the hill. "Understand, understand, understand," the stones replied. Mira closed her eyes. She remembered the second part of the message on the arch. "Listen with patience." She did not speak again. Lumi sat beside her. He wrapped his tail around his paws. The two friends waited. The wind moved over the hill. A cricket sang near one of the stones. Far below, water flowed through the river. The listening stone began to feel warm in Mira's hands. A new sound entered the circle. It was very faint. At first, it seemed like the hum inside a moonbeam jar. Then it grew clear enough to become a voice. "My light has been scattered." The voice came from the dark moon. Mira opened her eyes. "How?" she asked gently. "A cold wind crossed the highest sky," the moon replied. "The wind struck my light and broke its heart glow into many pieces." "What is heart glow?" Lumi asked. "My heart glow is the first light at my center. It holds all my other light together. Without it, the beams cannot return to me." Mira looked at Lumi's leather bag. "We have jars of fallen moonbeams." "They are pieces of my outer light," said the moon. "They can make a path, but they cannot restore me alone." "Where is it?" Mira asked. "It fell beyond the mountain of blue snow. It rests in the lake above the clouds." Lumi had heard of the mountain. It stood far to the west and rose higher than any other place in the region. "How can we reach it?" Lumi asked. "Follow the western hills until you find the Stair of Stars. It is an old path cut into the mountain. The moonbeams you carry will show the hidden steps." The moon's voice became weaker. "When you find my heart glow, place it in the brightest jar. Bring it to the sky mirror at the mountain peak." "What is the sky mirror?" Mira asked. "A circle of ancient glass. It can send light from the earth into the sky." The water in the basin began to tremble. "Hurry with care," the moon whispered. "The scattered beams are fading." The listening stone became cool again. Silence returned to the hill. Mira sat beside Lumi. The journey had become longer than they had expected. The mountain of blue snow was distant, and its paths would be cold, yet they now knew what had happened. They also knew how to help. Lumi opened his bag and checked the jar wrapped in green cloth. Its moonbeam still shone more brightly than the others. The hill was dark, but their purpose was clear. At sunrise, they would travel toward the mountain. Chapter 7. The Stair of Stars. The land changed slowly around them. The golden grass became shorter. The air grew colder. Small gray bushes replaced the broad trees of the valley. On the second evening, they saw the mountain of blue snow. It rose beyond the last hill like a great sleeping animal. Its lower slopes were covered with dark pine trees. Higher up, the rock was pale gray. At the top, snow shone with a soft blue color beneath the dark sky. They spent the night in a shepherd's empty shelter. The shelter was a low building made from stone. It had one room, a dry floor, and a roof of wooden beams. Mira spread the blanket in a corner. Lumi placed a moonbeam jar near the door. In the morning, they began climbing through the pine forest. The cold air smelled of bark and clean stone. The ground was covered with brown needles. Here and there, small streams ran down from the snow. Near midday, the trees opened around a tall stone wall. At first, Mira thought it was the side of the mountain. Then Lumi noticed a straight line rising through the rock. "The Stair of Stars," he said. The staircase had been cut into the mountain long ago. Many of its steps were hidden under moss, soil, and fallen pine needles. Some seemed to disappear completely into the wall. Lumi opened one of the moonbeam jars. The moonbeam floated out. It moved slowly over the ground, tracing a line of silver light. Wherever it passed, another stone step became visible. Mira watched the light climb. "The moon was right," she said. "The beam is showing us the path." They began to follow it. The staircase was narrow, so they walked one behind the other. Lumi went first. Mira stayed close behind him. Every few steps, Lumi stopped to check the path. The moonbeam waited above his head. As they climbed higher, snow began to cover the stones. Mira took wool mittens from her pack. Nani had placed them beneath the food. She also wrapped a scarf around her neck. Lumi's thick fur kept him warm, but ice formed between the pads of his paws. Mira stopped often and gently cleared it away. The staircase soon reached a deep crack in the mountain. A narrow bridge of ice crossed the gap. Before stepping onto it, Lumi studied the surface. The ice was clear enough to show the darkness below. "We must cross one at a time," he said. He moved carefully onto the bridge. His claws helped him grip the ice. When he reached the other side, he turned and waited. Mira stepped forward. She did not look into the deep crack. She watched Lumi instead. His calm face gave her courage. Halfway across, her boot slipped. Mira lowered herself quickly and placed both hands on the ice. She stayed still until her breathing became calm. "You are safe," Lumi called. "Move one knee at a time." Mira followed his advice. She crawled across the remaining distance. Lumi touched his nose to her mitten when she reached him. "You did not let fear make you hurry," he said. "I was very frightened," Mira admitted. "Courage can be frightened," Lumi replied. "It simply keeps moving with care." The moonbeam continued upward. At last, the stone steps entered a narrow passage between two high walls of rock. The wind could not reach them there. The quiet space allowed them to rest. Mira ate an apple. Lumi ate a piece of bread and cheese. They shared the remaining water carefully. After resting, they followed the passage. It ended at a broad shelf of rock above the clouds. Mira had never stood so high. A soft white sea covered the lands below them. Only the tops of distant mountains rose above it. In front of them, another set of steps led toward the snowy peak. The moonbeam that had guided them began to grow thin. "It has almost used all its light," Lumi said. The beam touched the first snowy step. Then it broke into tiny silver drops and disappeared. Lumi thanked it quietly. He closed the empty jar and returned it to his bag. One moonbeam had shown them the hidden staircase. Because of its light, they had reached the upper mountain. They still had more climbing to do, but the path was now clear. Above them waited the lake. Above the clouds. Chapter 8: The Lake Above the Clouds. The final path to the lake crossed a field of deep snow. The snow was smooth and blue beneath the darkened moon. Rounded stones rose from it like small islands. The wind made soft lines across the surface. Mira and Lumi moved slowly. Mira tested each step before placing her full weight on it. Lumi stayed close to the stones, where the snow was not as deep. After a long climb, the ground became level. They had reached a high valley hidden near the mountain's peak. The valley was surrounded by walls of blue ice. These walls were not built by people. They had formed from many layers of frozen snow. Their surfaces caught the weak light from Lumi's jars and turned it into pale colors. At the center of the valley lay the lake above the clouds. The lake was round and perfectly still. A thin sheet of clear ice covered its surface. Unlike the ice walls, the lake did not reflect the moonbeam jars. It looked dark, as though it were holding a piece of the night. Mira and Lumi walked to the edge. "How will we find the heart glow?" Mira asked. Lumi opened a jar. He released a moonbeam over the lake. The beam floated across the ice. Near the center, it suddenly turned downward. A circle of golden light appeared beneath the frozen surface. "There," said Lumi. The heart glow rested at the bottom of the lake. It was not large. It looked like a golden seed surrounded by silver threads. Its warm light rose through the dark water. Mira examined the ice. It was thick near the shore, but thinner at the center. "We cannot walk to it," she said. Lumi looked around the valley. Near one wall of ice stood several tall reeds. They had grown beside a warm spring that entered the lake through a crack in the rocks. The reeds were dry and hollow. Lumi brought back 3 long stems. Mira understood his idea. She tied the stems together using a piece of string from her pack. The joined stems formed one long tube. "The tube can guide a moonbeam through a small opening," Lumi explained. "The beam may be able to lift the heart glow." They still needed to make an opening in the ice. Mira took out the brass compass. Its case was strong, and the edge of its lid was firm. She used it to scratch a small circle in the ice near the shore. Lumi warmed the circle by holding a moonbeam jar above it. The silver light did not create heat like fire, but it encouraged the ice to loosen. After several minutes, the circle opened into a hole. Mira placed one end of the reed tube through the opening. She moved the other end toward the golden light under the ice. Lumi opened a second jar. He guided the moonbeam into the tube with his tail. The light traveled down the hollow reeds. It entered the water and followed the tube toward the center of the lake. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the golden heart glow rose from the bottom. It followed the moonbeam. Slowly, it moved through the dark water. Silver threads streamed behind it. It passed beneath the ice until it reached the opening near the shore. Lumi quickly took the brightest jar from his bag. The jar was still wrapped in Mira's green cloth. He removed the cork. The heart glow rose out of the water. It paused above the open jar, trembling like a tiny golden star. "Please come with us," Mira whispered. The heart glow entered the jar. Golden and silver light filled the glass. The brightness spread through the high valley. It shone against the walls of blue ice and turned the snowy ground warm and pale. Lumi replaced the cork. The jar hummed softly. For the first time since the moon had gone dark, his tail gave a small silver flash. "We found it," Mira said. Lumi wrapped the jar in the green cloth. He held it close against his chest. A low, cracking sound crossed the lake. Mira looked at the ice. The place where the heart glow had rested was closing. A thin layer of new ice formed over the small opening near the shore. The lake was returning to its quiet sleep. Mira and Lumi thanked it for guarding the light. Then they turned toward the path that led higher up the mountain. The heart glow had been found. Now they had to carry it to the sky mirror. Chapter 9: The Sky Mirror. The path from the lake to the mountain peak was short, but it was the coldest part of the journey. The wind pressed against Mira's coat. Snow moved around her boots. Lumi's fur became covered with white flakes. They continued one careful step at a time. At the top of the mountain stood a circle of black stones. In the center of the circle was a flat sheet of ancient glass. This was the sky mirror. It was wider than a cottage roof. A rim of silver metal surrounded it. Small pictures had been carved into the rim. The pictures showed stars, clouds, birds, falling rain, and the changing shapes of the moon. Snow covered much of the glass. Mira brushed the snow aside with her mittens. Lumi used his tail to clear the edges. Beneath the snow, the mirror looked cloudy. "It cannot send the light through the sky if its surface is not clear," Mira said. They began to clean it. Mira used the wool blanket to polish the glass. The blanket was damp from the snow, but its broad surface worked well. Lumi cleaned the carved rim with the green cloth after removing it from the heart glow jar. The task took a long time. Their arms and paws became tired. Cold wind returned the snow almost as quickly as they removed it. Lumi placed 2 moonbeam jars on the stones. Their light made the glass warmer and kept new snow from settling. At last, the sky mirror became clear. Mira could see herself in its dark surface. She saw her red cheeks, untidy hair, and tired eyes. Beside her stood a small fox with a gray tail. Above them, the dark moon waited. Lumi carried the heart glow jar to the center of the mirror. A round space in the glass was shaped to hold it. The jar fit perfectly. The golden light spread through the sky mirror. Lines appeared beneath the glass. They formed a pattern like the branches of a tree, yet the light did not rise. "Something is missing," Mira said. Lumi walked around the rim. He examined the carved pictures. Near the northern side, he found 6 empty circles. Each circle was the size of a moonbeam jar. "The mirror needs more light to make a path," he said. They placed the remaining jars in the circles. One by one, the jars began to shine. The sky mirror grew brighter, but the light still did not reach the moon. Lumi counted the circles. "There are 6 spaces," he said. "We only have 5 jars left, including the heart glow." Mira's heart sank. They had used 1 moonbeam in the birch clearing. Another had shown them the stair of stars. 2 had helped them reach the heart glow beneath the lake. 1 circle remained empty. "We need 1 more light," Mira said. Lumi looked at his tail. It had begun to shine faintly after the heart glow was found. "My tail carries moonlight," he said. "You cannot place your tail in the mirror," Mira replied. "No, but perhaps I can give the mirror some of its silver." Lumi stepped into the empty circle. He curled his body so that his tail rested along the carved rim. At once, silver light flowed from his fur into the sky mirror. Lumi closed his eyes. His legs trembled. Mira knelt beside him. "Is it hurting you? It feels cold," Lumi whispered, "but I can hold on." The lines beneath the glass became bright silver. The heart glow jar shone like the center of a sunrise. A beam rose from the mirror. It climbed through the cold air in a straight golden line. It passed the highest clouds and reached toward the dark moon. The beam touched the moon's lower edge. For a moment, nothing changed. Then a small spark appeared. The spark spread across the moon in slow rings. Gray became silver. Silver became white. Light filled every part of the great circle in the sky. The moon shone again. Its glow poured over the mountain. The blue ice walls glittered below. The sea of clouds became bright and soft. The moonbeams inside the jars rushed upward. Their glass containers became empty as each piece of outer light returned to the sky. The heart glow rose last. It floated above the jar as a golden seed. Then it followed the silver beams and entered the center of the moon. The light in the sky became calm and whole. Lumi fell gently onto his side. Mira lifted him from the mirror and wrapped him in the wool blanket. His tail was not shining. "Lumi," she said, her voice shaking. The fox opened his eyes. "I am here," he said. A single moonbeam descended from the sky. It touched the tip of Lumi's tail. Silver light spread through the fur until the whole tail shone more brightly than before. Lumi stood slowly. The moon's voice moved through the mountain air. "Thank you, gentle travelers. My light is whole because you carried kindness farther than fear." Mira looked up. "Will you be all right?" she asked. The moon had found its light. Chapter 10: The Lantern Festival. Mira and Lumi rested on the mountain until morning. The sky mirror had become warm after sending its beam into the sky. They slept beside it beneath the wool blanket. The full moon watched over them, and Lumi's silver tail made a soft light near Mira's feet. Their journey home took several days. They crossed the ice bridge carefully. They followed the stair of stars down through the mountain. No moonbeam was needed to reveal the steps now. The restored moon had left a faint silver line along the path. At the shepherd's shelter, they found a basket waiting near the door. The basket contained bread, dried berries, and a small bottle of milk. A note was tied to the handle. It read, "For travelers returning under a bright moon." Mira did not know who had left it, but she and Lumi were grateful. When they reached the golden plain, Oren was waiting on the stone bridge. The repaired stone stood firmly in place. Oren lifted his staff, and its little bells rang. "You listened well," he said. Mira returned the white listening stone. Oren shook his head. "Keep it. There will always be quiet voices worth hearing." Mira placed the stone safely in her pack. They crossed the bridge and entered Willow Wood. The forest had changed. The white night flowers stood tall again. Moonlight rested on the pools. The mossy paths shone softly beneath the trees. At Lumi's hollow oak, all the jars on the shelves were empty. Mira worried that Lumi would be sad. Instead, he smiled. "The moonbeams have gone where they belong," he said. "The jars are ready for new light." They continued to the village. It was evening when they reached Mira's cottage. Nani stood at the garden gate holding a lantern. When she saw them, she hurried down the path. Mira ran into her arms. Lumi sat beside them, his tail shining. Nani brought them into the warm kitchen. She served vegetable soup, fresh bread, and honey cakes. Lumi ate from a blue bowl near the fire. Mira told the whole story. She described the hill of echoing stones, the moon's distant voice, the stair of stars, the dark lake, and the ancient mirror. She explained how Lumi had given his own silver light when one more moonbeam was needed. Nani listened without interrupting. When the story was finished, she placed a hand on Lumi's head. "You cared for the moon's small pieces of light," she said. "In return, the moon cared for you." News of their return spread through the village. The people wished to celebrate, but Mira asked them to wait until Lumi was ready. He did not enjoy loud music or crowded rooms. Together, they planned a quiet lantern festival. The festival took place 1 week later. Each family prepared a lantern. The lanterns were made from wood, glass, or carefully folded paper. Small candles were placed inside them. The flames were covered so they could not touch dry leaves or grass. After sunset, the villagers carried their lanterns to the valley. They did not bring drums. They did not shout. They walked in a long, peaceful line while the moon shone above them. At the stream, they placed the lanterns on flat stones. Yellow lights glowed beside the silver water. Mira stood near the willow trees with Nani. Lumi waited beside them. He wore his leather bag across his chest. 6 clean jars rested inside its padded pockets. The villagers had learned about his work, but they did not crowd around him. They greeted him kindly and gave him space. A little boy approached with his father. The boy held a lantern shaped like a house. He seemed nervous. "Did you return the moon?" he asked. Lumi looked up at the bright sky. "We carried the light," Lumi said. The boy thought about this. "No one alone?" the boy asked. "No one," Lumi said. The answer made the boy smile. Later, the villagers became quiet. Mira opened her blue moon journal. On the newest page, she had drawn the restored moon. Below it, she had drawn a silver-tailed fox standing beside a small child. She read a few simple words aloud. "The moon gives light to the valley. The valley gives paths to its travelers. Friends give courage to one another. A small light can guide a long journey." Everyone looked upward. The moon was full and clear. As the festival ended, families collected their lanterns and returned to their homes. They left no glass, paper, or candle wax beside the stream. Mira and Nani walked back to the cottage. Lumi remained in the valley a little longer. A moonbeam had fallen between two blades of grass. It shone like a silver thread. Lumi opened his bag and took out an empty jar. He held the jar near the ground. With one gentle movement of his shining tail, he guided the moonbeam inside. The glass filled with cool light. "One for a traveler who has lost the path," he whispered. Farther on, he found a second moonbeam resting on a willow leaf. "One for a child who needs a peaceful dream." He collected a third from the edge of the stream. "One for a home waiting in the dark." When all 6 jars were full, Lumi climbed the low hill above the valley. The village roofs shone below him. The chimney of Mira's cottage released a thin curl of smoke. In the highest window, Mira stood beside the glass. She lifted one hand. Lumi raised his silver tail. Then he turned toward the bright moon. "Thank you for your light," he said. The moon was finally home.